Yuhanna Mirpatia was the firefighter who got shot in Rasht when he was saving people from the fire in Bazar. He was an Assyrian Christian, and so far we have records of 20 Armenians and 5 Assyrian Christians who were killed by the terrorist regime in these protests. Down with the dictator! Down with the dictator! Long live the Shah! Down with the dictator! Long live the Shah! Our first speaker is Reverend Leach, founder and CEO of Never Again Is Now and the Allies, a grassroots citizen movement to combat anti-Semitism. Everyone please welcome Reverend Leach.
Today, we stand united in this clash of civilizations. We stand not just as individual people, not just as Iranians or Jews or Christians. We stand as a humanity that will say no to terrorism. A humanity that will say no to the kind of brutality that we have seen from the regime in Iran. And to say to the rest of the world, now is a time to choose. Who will you support? The state sponsors of terrorism who for the last 48 years have exported their vicious jihadist ideology through their proxies, massacring people through the Middle East, raising up proxies to massacre the Jewish community on October the 7th, who've exported their terrorism around the world, who turn their guns against their own people? Or will you stand with the forces of life and freedom and truth, with the Shah, with Australia, with Israel, with all people who stand for human rights, for the dignity and freedom of every person? That's what we are about today. And I want to say to you, as somebody who has a family story in the Holocaust, my mother was a German Jew who suffered under hands of state-sponsored terrorism on a grand scale, and who grew up in Africa as a refugee and lived with the terrorism we experienced in all kinds of ways there. That there is a particular unique evil when a government turns its guns against its own people. But I want to tell you this. Those governments do not last. They will not last. Because the arc of history is long, but it bends towards freedom. It bends towards justice. It bends towards life. Because under the arc of history, we know there is a God who is working everything out and assume and is working for the good of all of humanity. We just have to look at our shared history back from King Cyrus's day, the partnership between the Persia and Israel. And we can see these strands of history, and we can know that the fight that is happening today is a fight that will be won by the forces of life and truth and freedom. In the last 25 years, there have been around 50,000 jihadist terror attacks around the world. 50,000.